We're live, Mr. Wade.
Good
How are you,
night.
sir?
Good night to our Belizean public, both at home and abroad, and to all those who tune into us on a regular basis, and those who will tune into us a little later on. Pleasant good night and a blessed Wednesday, 25th June, 2025. And welcome to our Belizean Affairs show number 311. 311. And
Will you
like
get
I
them, Mr.
say,
Wade? Will you get them?
it's a pleasure to sit in the company of the one and only Mr. Leonard Brackett. As always, it's a pleasure, my brother.
Right, it's a pleasure. The
And
pleasure is mine too, Mr. Wade. Join you.
I know we will join late. We'll be joined by Mr. Gregory Morrison, our regular guest, and also by our another senior panelist, Mr. Gregory Brackett. Must be in the background there queuing up something because we always show and tell and see where they always tell on themselves, whoever, wherever, whatever. And it's always good to show and tell. So they cannot say, well, we pull something out of our back pocket and it's not them that is saying that. And as always, a sense of time, we start our program with a prayer followed by a reading, and I pass it over to Mr. Leonard Brackett to lead us in a prayer.
Yes, sir. Right now. Okay. Uh, Thank you again, Mr. Wade, for being the chairman tonight and allowing me the privilege to sit with you and participate on your program, your Wednesday night program. Of course, the pleasure of participating with you is mine, as well as the
Same
other
here.
guests then when they become available.
Same
And
here.
thank you also for giving me the privilege to say the prayer for you tonight as well. I'll just bow my head and say a short prayer, sir. Divine loving Father, thou who art the creator of heaven and earth and all that in them are, into thine hands we commend ourselves, asking thee that thou would continue to have mercy upon us, to nurse our hearts, our desires, even our most secret thoughts. Please continue to bless this program that we may be able to be of some positive input to our Belizeans at home and abroad and others.
Amen.
And please continue to bless our family members, children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, spouses,
Amen.
significant other ones, and our brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, aunts. And please bless this country of the United States, its people and leadership. Please bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership as well. And please bless the rest of humanity, especially those people who are in war zones, tornado areas, this, volcano, earthquakes, hurricane. Thou, divine loving Father, we pray that thou mayest grant us health, courage, strength, perseverance, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And please continue to abide with us, for we ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Leonard, I would like you to do a little public, awareness of, the hurricane season we're in
Uh,
also.
Thank you very much, sir. Uh, Belizeans at home and abroad, and especially in particular those at home, because we know that Belize is situated in the tornado alley as of
Hurricane
June.
Alley.
Hurricane alley. I'm
Hurricane Alley.
sorry. Tornado alley is the Midwest.
Yeah, Midwest.
um,
Oklahoma and these places.
yeah, yeah. I imagine you used to have fun when you used to drive through those areas, no, Mr.
Oh
Wade,
yes, I've
with
seen
them,
a lot. I've seen a lot
with
there,
them big
Leonard.
rigs.
Oh yes, sir. I've
Yeah,
seen a lot of
I'm
tornadoes brewing up in those
so.
zones.
So since we Belizeans, or at least our country of Belize, is located in Central America, in the tornado alley, again, Hurricane
Hurricane
alley.
Alley.
I don't know what's going on. My mind is on tornado today.
Why? Watch out. You better
We don't
take
usually
that
get,
out, right?
yeah, we don't usually get in California, but every once in a while we get some small one, right? But
Whirlwind, yeah, yeah,
right now, most of these things are becoming much bigger
yeah.
because they're messing with the environment, and all these bombs that they're blowing up disturbs the atmosphere, and it goes around in a, in a circle from one point on the earth, goes around and come back to another point, and by the time it get back, it's disturbing all the other atmospheres, no?
You
So
think
because we're in the hurricane season in Belize as of June
June to November?
to November, thank you, sir. I'd like to ask that our people be really, really careful and cautious and attentive more than anything else, because we're going to be having, according to the predictions, a very active hurricane season, and not only just active compared to other times, but these activities and these hurricanes that they're talking about are going to be much more devastating than the previous ones that we have been accustomed to. You know, every once in a while we get only small one or a big one. No, we're getting a lot of big one in addition to the small ones. Then, and these big ones will be much more devastating than others. So, Belizeans at home, please pay attention. Please uh, be prepared for short notices, because some of these things they move fast. So again, I mean, it's a total change in our atmospheric pressures and how the weather pattern and everything is changing. It's not like it used to be before. People go look at the sky and anticipate the weather and figure out, I mean, they get warning, but they are still delay and delay and delay. Don't take no chances with these kind of hurricanes coming down early in the near future. Besides that, we also want to caution our people, or drivers in particular, man, too much accidents. We have bus accidents, we have bus burning up, we have cars burning up, pickup truck burning up. Okay, let me say something quickly to those who are drivers. And what I'm going to say, I think to some of them, maybe what I'm going to say should not be news or should not be any surprise. But I'm going to go and say it anyhow, because I think to some of them, it's more than just a surprise to some of them. They're driving machinery, mechanical parts that fail. Most of our vehicles in Belize are second-hand vehicles, and they're not maintained the way a second-hand vehicle is supposed to be maintained. Why? Because, well, obviously people don't have the economics to back them up to be able to do this kind of maintenance on a regular basis. But these machines fail. And if you're running your truck or your car or your vehicle, whatever it is, on the roads, and you get on the highway and you're going to be going fast, the least you have to do is remember to keep your oils at the correct level, change your oils at the correct timing, put your water or I can't say antifreeze because we not got no freezing weather, I believe, right? But it still helps to keep the engine cool. A lot of these fires that we see on the road is because the engine get overheated, and the oils, change them enough, and it makes the engine get overheated, and then, one leaf flash or one leave it a gas or something, or one leaf small fire turn into big thing. Be careful, man. And then when you're driving on the in fact, even in a town, so when drivers in a town, then they go on like then they're on the freeway or the highway, and the one them they're on the highway feel like then they drive on American highway, and you go 70, 80, 90, 100 miles an hour. You try to get from one place to the other, overtake other vehicles because they're in such a rush, and they crash the other vehicles face on, kill themselves and kill other people or left other people mangled or maimed. We got to be a bit more conscientious, and we need to be able to, realize that we family the wait for we at home, So just drive with a little bit more care and consideration, and wish you guys the best. I always pray for you guys, and I'm a driver myself, so I know what it's like, being on the road. But just be cautious, and thank God for the privilege. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Leonard. So
You're welcome, sir.
so necessary to keep a sober reminder, to these things, because we are tired of seeing all these fatalities, Leonard, right?
Too much,
And
too much.
too much, so Just be mindful. And to finish off with that, the hurricane season, it's so sad that past and present government over the many years have not made life easy for the Belizean people in terms of, building some hurricane shelter, adequate hurricane shelter in this country.
Yes, sir.
When they all know that, June to November every year we have prone to hurricane, because, for the where we are located, right? So it's not something that they do not know, Leonard, and none of them take the initiative or the priority to build some adequate hurricane shelters for the people, right, of this nation, across this country. What they depend on, Leonard, they depend on some schools or somebody's house or some community center without roof, without a bathroom, without, these are the things that I would
And,
see maybe that would happen in a village, or
and
not
so,
even, but early in a town, in a city, in a developing nation like Belize, Leonard. None of
and,
them have that conscience that, these things are needed.
Mr.
And
Chairman,
it's not, Leonard, it's not because they don't get the money, the help, the grants, in times
they
of
didn't put only
disaster, but
provisions. They didn't put only emergency provisions as some of these districts and village um, hurricane shelters, so that when the people don't have to run there and be there, they don't have no stove there. They don't have they don't. It's not like when they're at home, they could cook and eat food, or they could, they should have like emergency provisions that the BDF just run around and take to these place, and maybe the chairman of the community could supervise it or something like that. I mean, because these things happen, and you have to help people.
so it's all I'm saying, Leonard. You say 2025. You know, I would say maybe one of the 31 leaders, would think about that. At least one out of that crowd. But you see what time and memorial, what is their priority? Not investing in the people, right? Not investing in the people. These are things that necessary, Leonard.
So,
My people, like in time now, what happened if a hurricane? Where are you going to run people from Belize City? Where are you going to run people from the north, the south, the east, the west, the keys, the out in the islands? Where are you going to run? Not one adequate hurricane shelter in the country of Belize. Not one that they could call hurricane shelter. Not one. So sad. But I'm gonna do a reading uh, from Ecclesiastes chapter 5,
yes, sir.
1 to 10, and it reads: Guard your steps when you go to the house of God. To draw near to listen is better than to offer the sacrifice of fools, for they do not know that they are doing evil. Be not rash with your mouth, nor let your heart be hasty to utter a word before God. For God is in heaven, and you are on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. For a dream comes with much business, and a fool's voice with many words. When you vow a vow to God, do not delay paying it,
Amen.
for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay what you owe, that is to the government of Belize, the PUP government. Pay the teachers, pay the tax, the retirees. That's what you owe. Pay what
Amen.
you owe.
Amen.
It is better that you should not owe than that you should owe and not pay, Mr. Government. Let not your mouth lead you into sin, and do not say before the messenger that it was a mistake. Why should God be angry at your voice and destroy the work of your hands? For when dreams increase and words grow many, there is vanity. But God is the one you must fear.
Amen.
If you see in the province the oppression of the poor and the violation of justice and righteousness, do not be amazed at the matter. For the high officials is watched by a higher, and
Mm.
there are yet higher ones over them. But this is gain for a land in every way. The king committed to cultivate fields. He who loves money will not be satisfied with money, nor he who loves wealth with his income is also a vanity. That's my reading from Ecclesiastes chapter 5, 1 to 10.
Amen.
Uh, Leonard, there's a lot going
Okay.
on in our country. My people have always says, through our medium here, it's like seems like every day, Leonard, that there is something brewing up. Something is about to happen. Something happens every day, and it's always not in favor of the poor and less fortunate and the country. Every day.
Mm.
And I keep saying it, and it keeps happening. Every day you turn on the news or you listen, something dramatic happens in terms of our leaders, right? Um, they are committing the most atrocities in this country, and seems that they keep getting away with it every day. For instance, $2.5 million for rental of offices. Rental of offices, $2.5 million. Mainly one, the Ministry of Blue Economy. And who are the landlords who are getting these money? We would like to know, right?
Everything
Now,
is secret, secret, secret now.
again, like we have been talking about these pop-up real estate people, right? Where they come from, who they are, and we see them getting murdered. From the Borja was a other young man Borja. That's another long story with a lot of people, and that seemed to die a natural death because of the people that involved. The guy out on the out on the peninsula, the real estate agent, and then another real estate individual up in the west got murdered again. Um, I wonder why, right? And I say, how much of our natural resources, you know, will continue to disseminate to special groups in the name of real estate. Lots of them popping up, some of them even located in the US. have ties in the US, but they hold lands, lots of lands from the UDP, same thing, the PUP. You know, they reward they reward some of their followers and close friends with our patrimony, with our land, so that they could make a little something, right? I see land activists, so-called land activists, you follow them, you see, what becomes and what the end result. These things need to stop. And all in the name, we helping the poor people who cannot afford a lot. Which poor people person have $30,000, have $30,000, have
The-
28,000, have to pay for a lot
They're
when
agents.
when in
They're agents of the ministers. Them each of the ministers then get land for
right.
giving in the community, but then sell some of the land and keep some for themselves.
But my biggest problem is that they use it in the name of helping the poor people.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? That's the bottom line. You hear the activist them and you hear oh yeah, we helping they're helping they blur that out real quick for the poor people. Which one of the poor people come with you with $30,000 for one of your lots, Mr. Real Estate, right? Come on, these things got to stop. And I blame the Minister of Lands to be condoning these kinds of actions, right? When you have poor people there, poor born Belizean, some of them have the application in there for 5, 7 years and cannot get a 50 by 100, right? Come on. But you're rewarding, and sadly, Leonard, some of these so-called real estate agents, they
Mm-hmm.
get land in nice area, in area that you could not even imagine. Man, I didn't even know that land was
Was
vacant,
available. Uh-huh.
right? I didn't even know, right? I'm just saying, you say, damn, when you look, they're subdividing and they're making their money all on the backs of the poor people. Those are lands that should be going to the poor people. Poor born Belizean that needs a piece of land. That's what the land minister should be doing, not rewarding and continue to do these kinds of side door deals
Mm-hmm.
when you have born Belizean that needs, no what needs a 50 by 100, Mr. Land Minister, to build a little house, man. Huh? Some of them tired of rent, right? But what you do in the towns and cities, you find for your real estate buddies, right? Come on, why don't you take that same damn energy and find the 50 by 100 for a poor born Belizean that wants a piece of land? That's my take on that one, right? Then you have the National Bus Company. It's a yes, Leonard, yeah. And they say now that they have 16 of the 31, yeah, right? I mean, sorry, 16 of the 30. That's what the Zabani guys say. They have the backing. They could sure of 16. That's a yes of the 30 bus owners that is on board with them, right? So there you go, right?
So they help the 16 and they pressure the other 31 to get out
Right?
of business so that the 16 will have more business. That will happen eventually.
Yes. 16 of them is on board with them. So it's, 16 is more than 15. Is one more than 15. So there you go. How they gonna play that out? I just wish them well, right? Then you have Leonard. I don't know if you could remember a couple of years ago, or say 3 years ago, more or less, $90 million was given to Orange Walk in the north to fight crime. Crime fighting with $90 million. Not too long ago now, right here now in this week, $8 million.
Mm-hmm.
$8 million for security operation in the north, Leonard. $8 million for security operation in the north. Now my question is that, you know, which part you got Orange Walk and Corozal, where is that operation going to take place? And who will get that money? And how will it be disseminated? Right? Is it that the security forces is going to get better weapon, or they're going to get some good food, or they're going to get um a little increase in their operational capacity?
Mr. Chairman, mind, I know you talk about security, the Corozal and Orange Walk, well, Corozal, the airport, Man, all kind of security they talk about. Like what they do, because some of them places wasn't included in the last security deal when they cut. So if they are, I mean,
So
I- I've been a little facetious because it might not be. It might be security in terms of them wanting to go after the cartel up there, like how then they make SOE now to release it. They don't make no SOE up there, but maybe they might want to still go after some of the people with the cartel or the contraband or whatever, the ministers then where they bring in the elite thing in and then pick up truck or the SUV and so. We don't know yet, right?
So let's see how that will play out. We'll talk about that a little bit. Then you have the tax service, Leonard. They're going after 32 businesses, small little business, and mom and pops and vendors and all that. 32 of them, which is they need to collect tax owing amount to $16.5 million, right? That's what they're going after. And the biggest one I watched through that list is $8.75 million owed by the Fisherman Cooperative. That's the biggest one I see, right? We'll talk about that, right? And as of half an hour ago, the Prime Minister says that, you know what? The lady shouldn't have made that list public. That's what he said. Shouldn't have made that list public.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, we have more and more police abuse, right? More and more. And now they're carrying out their duties at some of these political rallies, these election voting, um, now the village council elections, and some of them carrying out their duties there. And there was a disturbing shooting by the police in San Antonio, PG, a place where I was born, in that area there, right? San Antonio. Police shot an individual at that rally. And I understand, as for the individual was in his yard minding his own business, right? So sad to see lately how past government uses the security forces in trying to silence people. Now they're using again, trying to silence people, anybody that oppose them or trying to make a little noise in the back, which is their God-given right,
Freedom of
right?
expression,
Right?
freedom of
And you see
movement,
how what happened. So
freedom of association.
that brutal force is uncalled for, and mainly they use it on any independent individual or the opposition who is trying to oppose their progress,
Mm-hmm.
whichever government in power, right? And so sad how they are using the security forces to do their dirty work. Sad. And don't forget, we should have free and fair election. Where is democracy, right? Why do these things have to happen? And it's not the first time. You have a Mr. Balona not too long ago in the same in San Antonio, but San Antonio on the west. They're having um, a rally, and this same Balona spitted on a UDP person. Actually spitted. And he says
Mm-hmm.
something was in his throat when they interviewed him, say he didn't, right? But he actually spitted on that person, and he's still alive. And then he mocked Mr. Pandy. Who stuttered. He have a mockery, a hell of a lot of mocking somebody that had a speech a problem, right? And he is still the area representative for the Cairo Central, right?
Or go to
I'm
the
just
head.
trying to show you, right? The right, and like I say, he's still alive, right? He do all these things, and you imagine somebody come and hack and spit in your face. Actually, spit in your face, man. That's really harsh. That's really bad, right? So, like I say, these are the things that's going on in our country, right? And we have seen, right, the abuse in our country, and we are living it, the injustice, the blatant corruption, the nepotism, plain and plain to see. They use our patrimony, right, to do their bidding, right? Taxpayers' assets to do their bidding, money, right? Our natural resources as pawn, right? To get whatever they want and to cover their dirtiness, right? Whatever is their political agenda, right? And we see the rich get richer. And sorry, man, it's and it's a continuous thing, past and present government. When one is in power, only certain people profit in this country, right? When the UDP in power, only certain people profit. When the PUP in power, only certain people profit in this country. The rest are forgotten, right? It's so sad, right? So all I'm saying is that there's a lot to be desired of this government right now, right? We see what they're doing with our constitution, right? It's plain to see, right? We see their agenda. It's so sad. And yet, you have their fanatics to say, well,
Oh,
like,
it. Uh,
we
that's great. That's great. He gonna put himself on when he ready.
we have their fanatics, Leonard, who says, well, like, these PUP do no wrong, UDP do no wrong, right? So sad to see how they just keep people poor and dependent, right? And they use these people in times of when they want their support. They have a way they do it, right? So, and the change, in this country will have to come uh, from the people, because only the people can make that change. So, like I say, we have a lot going on, right? We see the contracts that they are giving out left, right, and center, and they have no apology, right? No apology doing when they have problem with paying their bills, paying the teachers, paying the retirees, but you know they're giving away the taxpayers' money left, right, and center, right? And they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And in their personal view that they're doing the right thing, you know, look at what they want to do with BTL, right? I mean, it's so sad. And my people, both at home and abroad, there is nothing left in this country, for the Belizean people, because they have privatized everything already. Everything went private, and it's mostly been done by the People's United Party, right? Some done by the UDP, but most of the privatization was done by the People's United Party. And they are, at some point, come publicly and try to justify it. It's so sad. And again, I want to welcome Gregory Brackett, our senior panelist. Welcome him, to our 311 uh, episode of our Belizean Affairs show. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good night to you, the people at home and abroad.
No, great.
Thanking you for tuning in. Good night, sir. It's always a pleasure sitting with you guys virtually on the platform. Hoping tonight's show will be one of education purpose to our people at home and abroad. I go back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Gregory. I will leave it here for now, but I know you have,
Oh man.
some things that very germane to what is really going on right now in the country, and I pass it over to you so we could talk about these things. Like I say, we show and tell, to the nation and to the world, what is really going on, and they cannot say that, we find this on a note somewhere, or somebody come and tell. No, no, we these are real happenings in our country. And again, thanks to you for always, showing and telling from their own words and their own action, right? So there's a lot of things going on in the country, and very serious things too, that need, to continue to highlight to our Belizean people. So
Thank
I
you.
pass it over to you, Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's not too long ago we heard the present government in the House passing new taxes and was saying that the people will not be taxed. The Prime Minister had said that. And it didn't take too long to see where this government wanted to go. But tonight I want to show the people at home and abroad how these people, like I say, telling themselves. Because right now Belize is in a tax crisis. And without the government collecting its revenues, the country cannot be run. The present government and past government, as I've stated before, has given away too much concession to foreign entities which is surviving while the local businesses are not surviving. The present government is not collecting tariff on the importers that is needed to stabilize the economy. And I have said from the last budget to the present budget that I believe the figures that they were putting out there did not match the state of the economy. I think I have said it was my belief that they might be playing around with the figures to make it seem legit, as though the economy is bouncing back and alive and we're doing well. But if such was the case, then why is it that the government cannot take care of its teachers, its retirees, and we have other entity that they cannot do? So, with that said, I will go to the tape and I want to go back to what was said by the present government because we know this present government has a way of giving you with his right hand and taking it back with his left hand. We have seen what happened last December when there was no taxes for food product for the whole nation. We see what happened last December when in his state of the address he said that any employees that is making less than 29,000 would not pay any more taxes. All these things are piling up. We have seen how he specified that a new homeowners and landowners they will be exempt from stamp duty
Under 30,000, I mean 30,000,
under
a
100,000.
hundred, 100,000.
So how can a country survive when all these things is happening? But there is something that came to mind. And if it wasn't because of the tax issues that is happening today, I would not have think about it. But let's go to the first tip.
Recently, we launched the Belize Economic Empowerment Program, where grant funding from the Caribbean Development Fund, $800,000 will fund 93 micro, small, and medium businesses. These MSMEs will not only qualify for a grant, but will be trained and mentored to ensure their sustainability and viability. To further support small business, small farmers, even new homeowners, government is making access to finance more affordable. And as we ring in the new year, government will pass legislation so that all mortgages, assignments, and cancellation of mortgages for less than $100,000 will be exempt from stamp duty. This exemption will surely assist lending institutions to compete for your business and bring down interest rates. To encourage private sector sponsorship and contribution to sports and educational development in Belize, a business tax credit equivalent of up to $30,000 or 1% of the tax liability, whichever is lesser, will be granted to a taxpayer donor for such donations. As much as we have worked to support small business, we also recognize the efforts of hard-working Belizeans and their contribution to Belize's economic renaissance, even in the face of the challenges of imported inflation. Effective January 1st, in support of employees, Cabinet has approved that all workers who earn less than $29,000 will be exempt from income tax. By increasing the income tax exemption threshold from $20,000 to $29,000, an additional 2,851 workers will no longer be subject to income tax. The income tax laws will also be adjusted to remove existing anomalies so that in no instance will an employed person take home less pay when his or her salary increases. This amendment will benefit no less than 733 employed persons. Altogether, by these income tax deduction adjustments, over $3.3 million more will be placed directly into the pockets of over 3,500 employees, an average of almost $1,000 increase in net take-home pay to these 3,500 hardworking Belizeans.
Now, Mr. Chairman, and people at home and abroad, you heard the tape. And I am saying this to say there is something wrong, and I would have never knew if this tax wasn't published about people who owe. But before I say what I have to say, Mr. Chairman, let's go to the other tape.
The Belize Tax Service has issued a public notice putting more than a dozen businesses on blast for failing to pay their business taxes and GST. Among the biggest defaulters, Northern Fishermen Cooperative Society, Plexar Capital LLC, and Eco-Friendly Solutions Limited. According to Director General Michelle Longsworth, this isn't just a warning, it's the final call for those who've stayed silent on their tax debts. So what's next, and how serious is the crackdown?
What we're saying here is because all efforts have gone unresponsive by these taxpayers. We've done everything trying to collect from them, because it's important to know that none of these defaulters listed just received a bill out of nowhere with no warning. We tried working with them and we still continue to try, but they refuse to engage in meaningful discourse. So each one of them was afforded the rights all taxpayers receive: audit reviews, payment arrangements, dispute if they wanted to dispute any of the assessments, they were engaged.
Andrew Munnings, owner of Munnings Funeral Home, is firing back after his business appeared on the government's tax defaulters list. The Belize Tax Service claims he owes $182,000 in unpaid tax and GST. But Munnings says he's been in court over the issue and is making regular payments. In a social media post, he called the system unfair and said small businesses like his are being unfairly targeted.
I have seen the inside of a courtroom more than P did it right now, right? So when the director says that these are businesses that are non-compliant and businesses were not paid and was start carried to court and everything, I'm like, what have I not been through with you all? I have an agreed court statement right now where I am paying the court, where I am paying court fee, and I am paying business tax and GST back tax, back tax, right? I am paying them $2,000 monthly. So what else do you want? I have made it clear. It is our duty as businesses to pay taxes, but let's be real, man. We're 5-year business with over $200,000 in a back tax. That is ridiculous to me.
Director General Michelle Longsworth says the tax system relies on businesses to report their own earnings. She explained that under the law, it's a system based on voluntary compliance, meaning the responsibility starts with the business, not the tax office.
Remember, for business tax, there are different rates: 1.75%, 3%, 6%. It depends on the sector that you're in, the type of business that you owe. For GST, it's the 12.5% across the board. And that's different because remember the confusion here at times. GST is not a tax on business. GST is a consumer tax. Also, what needs to be clear is that business tax is paid on your gross, not on your profit, because there's this misconception that you pay business tax on your profit. That is so very wrong. It's on your gross. What we do when we do audits or when we do validation, we validate that what you submit to us was correct.
Andrew Munnings says when he first tried to register his business with the Belize Tax Service in 2021, he was told he didn't meet the threshold. But after officially registering in 2023, he was hit with a large tax bill. Now he's challenging how that amount was calculated, arguing it doesn't reflect how his business actually operates.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't pay tax. I mean, that is our duty and responsibility. Nobody never tell tax service we just don't want to pay tax. But it's how you go about doing stuff.
Yeah.
The last time we went to court, they took me to court for the closure of my business for 30 days. I had to reach a point and tell them, here, this just close it down permanently, please, because I am absolutely tired. I'm not at a stress point anymore with it, pal, because I can see clearly now that my business are not the only business where they go through all of this. But what I'm trying to say, man, if we could give tax break to big people with good fancy names, well, we can't do it to young, small, band Belizean people. But my thing is, bro, my name is on that list. Me not feel shame about it as yet, because I work hard for what it is that I have and what I try give. I don't want nobody feel sorry for me. You know, I will pay my tax. Whatever they say I owe, I will pay it. Need to get me $2,000 monthly.
The tax debate isn't over just yet. Munnings says he will keep paying the Belize Tax Service $2,000 a month as ordered by the court until his debt is cleared. But while his case continues, a new conversation is surfacing. What about the tax refunds the government owes to everyday Belizeans? That's right, while some are being called out for what they owe, others are still waiting on what they're owed.
What I will say here, I think that some people are being mischievous because we have a team of persons who monitor these comments on social media, and then they try to contact them to get.
Mr. Chairman, now let me say what I have to say. People at home and abroad, you heard the first tape that was played where the Prime Minister said $800,000 was going into small businesses. And I was wondering, why would a government put this large sum of money into micro businesses if businesses are not paying their tax? So taxes are needed to stabilize the economy. And I believe for a fact that no government would put no money into small businesses if they are not paying their taxes. So something is wrong here. Something is really wrong when that was mentioned. So my question would be, did the government really put that money into micro business, small businesses, knowing that they are not paying taxes? And to back up what I will say, Mr. Chairman, will come before the show is over. But let me go back to you.
Thank you, dear Gregory, for show and tell. Because this is what real hardworking Belizeans are going through. The little small money, the small money, right? Who just try to, and they are providing a much needed service. That especially that young man, they are much needed service to this country and to the people. It's not like some of the ministers them, right? Right? So come on, let's have a heart here, man. I'll pass it over to Leonard. Go ahead, Leonard, because I have something more to say on that. But I'll give Leonard the
Thank
you
you very
know.
much, Mr. Chairman. Uh, my comment is that, first of all, on this particular platform, and long before this particular platform, we have been saying to the government, you need to collect your taxes, first of all, because when you came into office, you was claiming that you needed money, and that's why you had to cheat the teachers them and the other civil servants them of their 10%. When in fact, that 10% that you was cheating them from was to go and settle with Mr. Ashcroft. You were saving up the money. That being said, we have always on this platform been advocating to them to go and get their taxes, especially from the big business and the medium-sized business them. The ones who are making the money. You can't get the money out of people when they make no money, but people who are making the money are the ones that you need to go and get your money, because from some of the stores them, they collect GST and they don't turn over all the GST to the government, but they collect it from the public. So that's a way of stealing from the public and stealing also from the government. Some of them, they give the people less product in weight for their money. So then they steal from them like that too again. But the bottom line is that the government needs to get its fair share. And instead of the pressure, people who own a little mom and pop store will try survive. They need to stop, give out them big concessions to them big companies, millions and tens of millions of dollars, and in some instances hundreds of millions of dollars, and then turn around and claim that they don't have the money to pay the wage bill. They can't have the money if they're giving it away to friends who won't give them a little kickback. And then they turn around and point their finger at the small man when they really got the money. When they go hustle, like the young man will play the first tape on, the young man is saying he no mind paying his fair share of tax, but they're levying tax on him that he don't think he won. or they're chancing the person to the point where the person is so frustrated now, and he's saying, okay, when he won't pay them what they claim, but they shouldn't have to be claiming what they don't, what the woman don't owe them. Their system should not be an onerous system. It should be a legal and law-abiding system, not to entrap people or to take advantage of people. No, everybody's supposed to pay their fair taxes in all the different departments of government. I don't have a problem with that. Like Greg says, and like we all know, that is how the government survive and succeed. But then cream up so much of the money off the top to bloated contracts to them bodies were getting kickback and for other different reasons and all kind of bloated salaries to themselves, okay, at the higher levels. And they hire a lot of unnecessary people that don't need to hire and put them on the government payroll. All those things are mismanagement of government resources. So I would want to say that unless these people can change their mind and start to act properly, we are continuing having the same problem. And the country now and move forward. The only people who got only money that people are coming with their money in their pocket, pay their way and get to play. And then succeed. And the rest of the people in the society, unless they get a job with somebody who come in and make one business, they don't have no job to get. And they can't create their one because there's not much, assets that they'll have to be able to invest into creating their own jobs. So it's all about mismanagement.
Mr. Chairman, I have said it before. Belize need to revise its tax code. The tax code should be in 3 sections. The bigger business pay a fair share, the middle class people pay a fair share, and the low class people pay a fair share, but in different brackets.
Mm-hmm.
When you are charging these big businesses the same tax you are charging the regular local business, how can they survive? When the business can afford to buy more than them and run them out of business by underselling the product. It is not making sense. And that is why I said I asked the question from the tapes I played. If the government say they are putting $800,000 or more into microbusiness, small microbusiness, how can you say you are putting that in there when you are saying right here they are not collecting taxes from these businesses? Government don't put money into businesses if they are not collecting their revenue. That would be something ludicrous. But that is telling me, from my belief, whenever government claims to be helping businesses, it's a fib. So then, where is the money really going? In honesty. And I will show why I'm asking that. I will prove that tonight. I will show why I'm asking that question. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
You want to say something, Leonard? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I wanted to answer the question that Greg was asking earlier about where is the government is claiming that they're putting money into small and micro business.
800 million.
800 million or 800,000?
I think it's 800,000.
Yeah, that's what I thought I
said.
All
before.
Right. Yeah, I think that's what I heard him say before. But even if, regardless of what the number is, it is not inconceivable that they are putting some money into helping small business. The issue is that they're not doing it over the board generally. The small business that they might be thinking about and referring to, which is quite plausible, are small business that they help and they recommend from friends and relatives and other cronies. It's not something where anybody could walk into the office and apply for a loan to start a small business or to become an entrepreneur, which is the way it's supposed to be. These are preferred. Like, for example, the other day when they had, when they send the people them going to study farming abroad, when the people then come back, those people that went They're not the regular local Belizeans. They were new migrants. They came back with the skills that they got when were sent abroad, and then they came back and they were given loan and subventions to help them start up their business. And those people, that kind of effort is good, but it should have been done to the local Belizean first and foremost. They should have had priority in that particular program. Some of them never know that the program was happening. People who are in business or doing a small farm for ages, they have one 10, 20 acre, and they can only do 1 acre because they don't have money to cut down and clean and do the rest of the acreage then. That is what the problem is. It shouldn't be something that they have set aside for only whoever they want or whoever they want. It should be a program that's a national program because it's money that from the national treasury that they're using, okay, from a consolidated fund that they're financing. It's not private funds like when we private funds that we were providing to small farmers to help them increase their lot. I have a foundation that does charitable work back in Belize there. And we had quite a few people under one of we programmed them that we were doing that small farm business with. But that's private. But what we're talking on the particular show right now is that the government is claiming to be giving out these funds to help the small and micro farmers, but it's not over the board. And the problem is that they should be coordinating those things to help people develop their skills and their ability and provide them with marketable effort to help them when they get their product produced, to help them get into the market and make their product not get lost. And before the product get to the point of being ready to be shipped out to people that they want to sell it to, they should be providing them with contacts and things like those. You should have a government office that deals with that kind of stuff there. And then do it so repeatedly to the point where it becomes a big conglomerate, of effort, rather than just a one small person or a micro person. The micro person is just to start to give them the leg up, so to speak.
Thank,
I yield back, Mr.
thank
Chairman.
you. Thank you. Guys, Greg and Leonard, you see the end result now, guys. You see the government is hard up now, hard up for cash. They're trying to reap in money from all different angles, right? And what blocked them the other day is the 125 million US dollars that they didn't get, right? That Trump took away, right? And it set them back very, very far, right? So now what they're doing now, they're scrambling and pressuring all these little small businesses, right? Like the young man there, right? Like he's just one of them. And where they should go is they should go and redo these contracts that they had
Exactly.
signed with
Exactly.
all these big corporations out there, and these hotels and um the one with Mr. Feinstein and all these people, right? You see publicly here they announced the amount of tax break these people he gave these people, right? It's so sad. Now he's succouring the small people them, right? And you rightfully said, Greg, it's a fib that $800,000 there. It's just a fib, right? To fool the public. Like, yeah, the government is doing good, giving so much money to help small farmers and entrepreneurs and all the good things. This guy play with numbers. He's good at playing with numbers, right? To fool the people, right? So it's so sad that it has to come to this point here, right? That these poor small businesses are left, to pay taxes, whether it's rightfully added up or wrongfully added up. it's still going to cost them to go to court because it seems that they're going to take them to court, right? It's so sad. And I could remember the Briseno sister, right, had owed so much money to the government. And what happened to her? She ended up getting a certificate showing that she owes no money. A certificate to prove that she didn't owe, right? But she was tagged, right? That owes, I can't give you the numbers, but she owed a hell of a lot of money to the government. What she paid. She got rewarded. So that's to show in this country, who get penalized, where the justice is, right? No justice for the small people, because you have and the have nots, right? The have always, get away, with paying the fair dues, right? And who get caught is the small little have nots. Okay. Um, I pass it over to you, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, I previously said that I will show you why I said what I said. And what I said was because of this.
It's unfortunate that that was made public. It should have, and I'm speaking for myself, it should have not been made public, and we should have continued working with these individuals to work with them. As you know, there have been tremendous growth in the economy over the past 4 years, and nobody can dispute the fact. And but it's unfortunate. Some small businesses, many instances, because they don't know how to go about filing their taxes, are in problems. But we stepped in. We step in whenever they ask us for help. We cannot write off taxes. It's only the National Assembly. But how do we help? We would then try to negotiate with with BTS, the Belize Tax Service, to try to remove the interest or the penalties so it could make it more affordable. We do not want to get anybody out of business. We want more businesses. We want more entrepreneurs. That's why we've been doing a lot of work with Beltrade, working with a lot of small businesses for them to be able to thrive in this growing economy.
Now, Mr. Chairman, I will prove what I said after playing this tape. I want to go back to what happened in the House. You heard what he said about small businesses, right? And they don't know how to do their taxes and stuff, right?
Yes.
People at home and abroad, I want you to remember this tape that I'm playing, what happened in the House.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this trade licensing bill under Plan Belize is just another tax on the backs of the Belizean people. A tax, Madam Speaker, that is structured in such a way that when it's casted, it will pick up everybody. This is a rape and scrape bill that is being introduced today. It is going to tax the biggest of all businesses, the medium businesses, the small businesses, but most importantly, you guys are going after the peddlers. Those people who have to struggle every day, either to sell them tarts, to sell panales, to sell tacos, to people that have to work today, Madam Speaker, so that they can eat tomorrow. If they are not able to deliver on their goods today, it means that that family will not be able to eat tomorrow. There is no concept.
Okay, thank you very much. Take care. God bless.
There you go, Mr. Chairman. So what micro business small had they invested in? How much panade shop is open? How much bread and bun shop is open or small business from born Belizeans? Mr. Chairman, the Prime Minister asked a question just now. He said nobody can say that Belize is not rebounding back because that is a proven fact. Tonight I want to show to you the people at home and abroad, and I have mentioned this before, and many budgets, I said they were playing with the figures. I don't believe the figures that they are putting up out there is matching to what is happening in the economy. I have said it. We are not exporting enough, and we have past and present government is not invested in factories and technology in this country. I have said it on more than one platform, but not to hear it coming from me. Let's hear it from the expert, Mr. Chairman.
Belize's economy may be bouncing back, but is it really catching up? In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic brought tourism to a standstill and sent the economy into a sharp decline. Fast forward 5 years, and the government is celebrating an impressive 8.2 GDP growth in 2024, second highest in the region. But a new study is raising eyebrows. Economist Victor Bulmer Thomas says that despite the recovery, Belize still ranks as the third poorest country in the region. His message: the numbers may look good, but they're hiding a much deeper problem.
I then asked the question of, well, why? What has happened that might have brought that about? And I focused on three things in particular. One is exports, which are really not high enough for a country that like Belize, and which aspires to have a higher standard of living. The second was the low investment ratio, particularly by the private domestic investors who face all sorts of difficulties in trying to compete with the foreign investors, for example. And the third thing was the issue of government spending. Government spending really needs to be higher because Belize faces a huge deficit in terms of education, health, all those sorts of things which are needed to bring the standard of living higher. But to increase government spending, there has to be an increase in government revenue.
Using data from the Statistical Institute of Belize and the Central Bank, economist Victor Bulmer Thomas found that Belize's income per capita in 2024 is nearly the same as it was in 2007, meaning living standards haven't really improved. He suggests that the government could boost revenue by cracking down on tax evasion instead of raising taxes. Dr. Dylan Vernon from the Belize Policy Research Institute says the country still faces major economic challenges.
There has been a decrease in living standards and indicates that we are comparatively in decline on that metric. So the paper basically highlighted that. It told us why, which is basically the fact that we have low investment, we have an export situation where we're not exporting enough, importing too much, and so that contributes to the issue.
According to the study, Belize's position has also declined in Central America over the past few decades.
I'm not going to single out any country in particular, but given that there are 34 countries in the Caribbean, if you include all the non-independent ones, 16 independent and 18 non-independent, all of them trying to export services like Belize, there are many, many examples of successful service exports, not just tourism, which Belize could look to try and diversify its economy and raise its standard of living.
Could a data-driven strategy be the key to unlocking Belize's economic potential? A new study thinks so. It recommends that Belize start using something called the Input-Output Matrix, a tool that tracks how goods and services move between industries.
We will be making, in fact, we are making the paper that was presented accessible, free of cost, downloadable on the website of the University of Belize, on the page for Belpre. And also we have done a couple flyers that break down the information for wider access. But the most important thing that Belpre will be doing now is to advocate for use of this input-output approach as a policy-making tool for Belize.
Belpre hopes to share this information with relevant stakeholders and the public to fuel the mission for a more robust and sustainable economy. Brittany Gordon for News 5.
So there you go, Mr. Chairman. The puss is out of the bag.
right here on our Belizean Affairs Show, number 311. Right? You want to say something, Leonard? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Uh, the two economists, the two gentlemen brought up some very salient and important points, but they fail on two of the most important one. That is that they did not point out that the cost of living currently in Belize compared to the threshold mark that the gentleman used for a few years back, the cost of living right now is much higher than then. Um, uh, uh, can I accept this call
Well,
from
you
Mr.
know,
Morrison? Go ahead, Mr.
um,
Wade. I got to answer Mr.
I
Morrison.
everything speak for itself there, Gregory, right?
Um,
I was shocked,
Mr. Morrison,
right? I was shocked to
uh,
see, that these
I'm
people,
not hearing. I want
actually
to.
telling the truth. Greg,
So,
right? I'm shocked because that's reality. That's the truth,
um,
right?
I wasn't seeing you. Okay,
They
Greg, Gregory, can you bring in Mr. Morrison for me, please? Can you see Mr. Morrison? Greg,
Greg.
Yes, I'm not seeing Mr. Morrison.
because I'm not seeing him either, and he said he's in the background. He's waiting for us to bring him in.
But I'm not seeing him, sir.
It's we know to see you, Mr. Morrison. You say you're already logged on? Huh? Uh, yeah, it should be showing you, but it's
Ask
not
him to
showing you.
log out and then scroll down
Logging
in
back,
his
yeah.
messenger to the
Huh?
latest link that you ask him to log out and log back in.
Mr. Morrison?
Make sure he's using the
Maybe we
latest
could
link.
log out and log back in.
Make sure it's
And,
Wednesdays.
use the last
One.
link that I sent you, no?
Yeah, number 311. Yeah, sure.
No,
Yes.
I sent it I'm sorry, go ahead because we are still live, no? Go ahead,
So,
Mr.
Greg,
You need to
thanks
come back in.
for educating and show and tell. And for those who had used to this prime minister playing with numbers and playing with all is well and all is good and dandy, there you go. You hear it from the exports, not from Brisenio's mouth, because what you're gonna get from him will never change.
Can I come back in, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
As I was indicating earlier, there were 2 points that I noticed that they glazed over or didn't address. One is the higher cost of living right now compared to the threshold time that they referred to when they used their marker, 2020, whatever it was, quite a few years back. And secondly, the fact that Belize is importing substantially more than what they're exporting. So we have a
Well,
major imbalance
he
in
said that.
trade. Yeah, no, yeah, but we have a major imbalance in trade. In addition to the fact that we could be exporting some of the things that we're not exporting, which would help us with that imbalance of trade. Okay, so these are very critical. Everything that I said was on target and good, but they missed out those two particular ones that I'm saying that all these things put together is what makes the difference in how the amount of cash flow that the government is going to have available to it to meet its wage bill and to meet the needs of the people and to advance the economy of the country. Because, like the gentleman said, we are the third lowest. We should be probably the first or the second or third highest. Because we have a small population compared to the size of we territory and the available arable productive lands, as well as all the other different possibilities that we have. We have a lot of assets in our mountains, Plus, tourism could be developed more better. We can't just depend on tourism alone. Had we been developing all these other things and expanding them, we'd have had a much more vibrant economy, and we'd probably have a better foreign exchange and a better financial reserve for for treasury and your central bank, and be able to get your money to buy things abroad compared to just the merchants being able to get money to send abroad, when in fact they're sending that money as capital out of our country. Not all of it is going to buy goods and goods that they bring in. So, those are just
Yes.
additional points that I'm saying. Our country
Turn it back over
advanced,
to you. Yeah. Yeah,
it's
turn it
just
back over to you, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
uh,
What the gentleman they were saying,
yeah, Mr. Morrison is already. I'll bring him in.
what the gentleman was saying. Good night to you, Mr. Morrison.
Good
Good
night, Mr.
evening, sir.
Morrison.
Good
Glad to
evening.
glad to have you. Sorry
No
that
problem.
you were trying to get in, I understand, and you couldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know what was going on.
yeah, yeah. But glad to have you.
Yes.
We'd like your input. I'll
Good night,
if
Mr. Morrison.
you listened a little bit, all right? Where you
Yes,
were
yes,
listening a little bit, right?
yes, yes,
I'd
yes.
like your input on the what you were talking about just now in
Oh,
terms
go
of
ahead.
the.
Go ahead for now. I need to
Go
fix
ahead,
something.
Greg.
Mr. Chairman, what the gentleman they were saying, and based on what was presented from the video, in all reality, that is the truth of what is happening in this country. You cannot put it in no different way because it is happening and the proof is in the pudding. Here it is.
42,000 persons got an increase in their minimum wage, 42,000, that's a lot of people who are making $3.30 an hour. You know what is $3.30 an hour? That's a little bit over $20 a day. How can you live with that? The cost of renting a room in this country is $100+ a week. You can't rent a house anymore. The days of renting a house for $300 or $350 are long gone. It's $650, $800 for some small houses that are inferior, unfurnished. And then you can't pay that, not on minimum wage. And then when you can't pay, you have to go find another house. And the homeowners are charging you 3 months rent. 3 months. Met a lady last week. She has to pay 3 months rent, $850 times 3, $25.50. You understand? First, last, and security. How in God's world she's going to be able to pay that on a small salary? How? So that's how they end up with the pawn shops. That's how they end up with the money lenders. And it ends up in a cycle that keeps pushing them back. Man, listen. I had to rescue a gentleman.
So there you go, Mr. Chairman. Nothing has changed.
And they know all of that, and they do nothing about it in terms of good governance. Okay? Nothing about
Guys,
good governance or improved governance.
is that the guy that actually saying that? And isn't he the Deputy Prime Minister of Belize?
Yes, sir.
Jeez.
He's economically well healed. So he can afford to
in
do the good
essence,
talking.
guys.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
In essence, guys, these guys know exactly the problems and the hard times people are facing on the day-to-day living. It comes from the very own venom spewing out. And what they do about it? What are they doing about it? Continue to enrich themselves, continue to do all the backdoor dealings and wheel and deal, all the tax breaks that they're giving their friends and cronies and big corporations. Now they're suckering the poor people now. So better, worse more now that they can't pay their rent. More, worse more. So just listen to that one guy. And he just one out of the 31, He just one out of the 31.
They're all multimillionaires, all of them.
So sad. So sad. Thanks for showing and from their own mouth. Mr. Morrison, have the floor there, sir.
Yes, good evening. The depravity and the poverty and the mismanagement and they all recognize it. They all know what's going on, and they're all in their own way contributing to it, either by active participation or by being silenced when they see crooked deals going on that they know does not serve the interests of the country and the people and such. So just to give it lip service to say that it's happening doesn't shake my boat. It requires that you actively do something when it's happening so that it could be pointed out, and that if you yourself cannot stop it, enough momentum is gathered by activating the masses to deal with it. So that's one of the problem we have, is that very few some people will not even mention it. At least the Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Hai, um, seem to give it lip service, right? So at least that tells you that he has a level of consciousness, but it doesn't mean that he's with the people in all respect to try and stop it. So that's one of the problems we have.
Thank you. Thank you,
Mr.
Chairman,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Chairman,
if I may say something based
Go
on the
ahead, Greg.
video, Belize is importing in 2023 $1.7 billion. So where are the tariff from that is supposed to stabilize the economy? $1.7 billion in 2023. So how much tariff are we getting from that? As I said before, all countries all over the world is run by the taxes and tariff it collects. You cannot stabilize an economy if you do not collect your taxes and tariff. But we find that here in Belize,
it's waived.
concession has been given away to too much foreign investors, and then the government wants to come and penalize the local citizen. As was mentioned from the videotape
Yeah.
and the news, the lady was specifying they have these people who owe taxes in the court. If they don't pay, they serve them warrant, and if they don't pay, they will go to jail. Who in the big businesses has ever gone to jail for not paying tax in Belize when they get tax write-off?
Yeah. Well,
No,
I don't
imagine it.
know. Yeah, I don't know how they could actually criminalize you for not paying your taxes. It seems quite a stretch. Usually, they would take possession of the property if it's property tax and such. Income tax, everybody should pay that. So, and that's deducted. And then there's the people that do self-filing. They are obligated to pay their taxes. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot.
Mr.
And
Morrison, the issue I have with it is they need to revise the tax code and place people in different brackets: high, middle class, and low class. When you have a
it's not.
Chinese business paying $700 and you have a bird shop or a panada shop paying that same $100, how can that work?
It's not even changing the tax laws. The laws are there. It's just finding ways to implement the laws that are there. The prime minister for the past government, he forgave almost $30 million in taxes during COVID when we needed those tax money. If he couldn't get the tax, he could have made arrangement to get back some of those land and then have it so that people can purchase those land and have land, and government would have also got some revenue from it. But more importantly, the citizens of the country would have then not been sitting up on top of each other in some of the neighborhoods because of over congestion, and it feeds into the violence and the gang and all those things. they could have lessened those stress by actively going about dealing with the issues of those taxes that were not paid or could not be paid or for whatever reason, but just forgiving it seems nonsensical. It seems to me a bit of corruption when that type of practice is the only option that they are willing to exercise.
Because
Go ahead, Leonard.
on that point, Mr. Morrison, thank you, Mr. Chairman. On that point, Mr. Morrison, what happened is that back then, a lot of people that had big chunks of land were not paying their taxes.
Yes.
And when those big chunks of taxes were not paid and was forgiven, that's revenue that did not arrive at the treasury and will not then arrive at the treasury because other people, they did not continue paying. It's not like they got that money and then they kept paying on afterwards. They just got the forgiveness and they stayed in delinquency.
It's not like not like they that's why I said there was nothing given. There was nothing given to that. It's like, okay, we'll forgive these ones, but you need to start pay, or these are the actions.
But
there was nothing to persuade them to make amends and to remedy the situation moving forward.
Then again, Leonard, don't cut you cross, right? Don't cut you cross. You listen to the Prime Minister said, we work with these people and we help them. And then you hear the young man mornings, Leonard and Greg, and they closed down his business for a while because his business was closed down. I think he said 20 days, Leonard or Greg, for a while his business was closed down.
But back to the land thing.
Is that working with man? Come on.
Back to the land
thing. Go
ahead. When Mr.
Ahead,
Barrow forgave those land things, it's because there's a lot of big people that normally they go and hobnob with and hang around with. Same thing like what the Belizean government is currently doing. And they're not collecting the taxes from some of these big people. In fact, I want to say something here right now. I am not too sure that the Belizean family, the Marine family, the Mai family, and all these other big-time family who have large tracts of lands for cane farming and cattle ranching, if they are paying their fair share of land taxes, okay, much less there are other taxes that they're supposed to pay for the product that they're getting off of those lands. There's a lot of money going out that's not coming in, that should be coming to the treasury. Like I said in the last show, the government went to the House and legalized the contraband cattle ranching thing that they were doing before and exempted themselves from paying taxes. They gave themselves concessions, which in effect meant that, okay, it got legalized. We should have to get some money in the treasury, but we get none. Why? Because now they got the concession, and because they got the concession, they don't have to be paying no taxes. So no money still not going to the treasury. We still not benefit from the stuff. But my point that I wanted to bring up earlier is that our government, both under UDP and under PUP, we have a bunch of people, well, I shouldn't say it. Okay, yes, let me say it, because the mindset of we Belizean people is such that they don't listen to input, accept input, take advice, and or, especially when it's free or freely given. If they go out there and then have one foreigner come and give them some advice, they will try to follow through and figure it out or deal with it. If you have a local Belizean like myself or any other technical-minded people out here who have came out here and acquired some knowledge, and you try to go back home and try to talk about anything that could be beneficial to the country, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. Unless you won't be the one to come and do it yourself, put your own money in it, and give them a kickback on the side. Because that's what the foreigners then do. They have ready-made cash or cash flow, or they have credit in at the bank, so they could go and haul out some money, slam down one briefcase in the office and go to these people to get so burned, and they get whatever they want done, and then they run away with the rest of the bank later on. And for we country, they have no benefit from all them deals and things that they put behind the scene.
We just about, it's a pity that you didn't manage to get in earlier, Mr. Morrison. But
yes,
we're there with time. But I give you a minute.
We can extend for 15.
Yes. We could go for another 10, 15 minutes if you guys.
Yes, I'm good. Mr. Morrison, you could take 3 minutes for your then we'll share the 15.
Okay. You know, I'm always concerned about the government and concession and those things. Those are good generally when properly executed. They're good motivators to attract companies, but you don't do it in the most prosperous tourism and business that everybody is competing for. You do it in business like you were talking about a cannery the other day. If you could attract someone that will open a cannery, then you give them a concession. But for a guy to put up another hotel to cater to tourism, we don't need to give him concession to do that anymore. That's a mature business that has lots of entrants and willing participation and investors to come in and participate, and you don't have to sweeten the pie to make that attractive to anyone. So whenever they are doing it, I believe that, like you said, Mr. Brackett, there's a briefcase being passed over somewhere. And I also believe that we have come to a point now, and I know there's a lot of things that's ministerial discretion and stuff, but
that's
and
the
cabinet,
problem. That's what
but
the problem is.
I'm thinking that we have come to a point where when government wants to make certain type of decision, they need to come to the people. I'm getting tired of government. Yeah, I'm getting tired. Yeah,
secrecy.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of government just going out and making loans and putting the country in indebtedness and have nothing at the end to show for it, and it just retards the development of the country. And it's government after government after government, but this government seemed to have been most egregious at it. They took away 1.5 billion dollars from our deficit, and in short time I think we're back to more than 1.5 billion since they
Far
took
past that.
in terms,
we're over 2 billion. We're over 2 billion right now.
In terms of loans again. And so I don't know what's happening. I think somehow we give them too much of a rein. Our businesses, they don't hold the government accountable, or I mean, nobody is holding them accountable. It's just shake hands and you get a little bit of the sweetness and the people suffers. So that we need to find a way to stop that because it's not serving us.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Greg, you want to take 4 minutes, and then, or you want to go? You want to go, Leonard? Or I give Greg go 4 minutes there, Greg.
Can you go first, sir?
Okay, go ahead, Leonard. Take your 4 minutes.
The problem is that the government is not, like I said, taking advice and collecting its taxes and doing some of the things that are being pointed out to them. And at the end of the day, when they go and they make these deals with these corporations, they do it all in secrecy. They give away the shop with all these different, because they have what you call like a boilerplate type templates for concessions that they give to different kind of business. Okay, depending on how cozy they are with the business, the more concessions they give out. But the stuff doesn't have to be so onerous, so cancerous, so deleterious, to the point where the investors come in, put up only money up front to get the acquiescence of the government, and then turn around and own the whole pie for the rest of eternity. No kind of benefits come to the public. They come in and they get facilitated and they make money for the rest of their life and the history of their business. While for you, Treasury have to provide all kind of background support, technical support, road support, all kind of business support. Okay, and we derive none of the benefits, and that's what the problem with we kind of government and government officials then that are so easily suborned, and then they go into this everything now when everything they want to know that they want to do it in secret. The names of these companies, the board members, them, the shareholders, them, everything is out of the reach of the average Belizeans to know or understand. But we are the one granting the powers and the authority to these jackals for them to go and serve their own self and their cronies and friends. That
Thank
has to
you.
stop at some point.
Thank you, Leonard. Thank you. Greg, take
Thank you,
your
Mr.
5 minutes.
Chairman.
Yeah, go ahead. Take your 5 minutes.
People at home and abroad and gentlemen, if you recall, many assured I have specified why the government of Belize is so intent and wanted constitution reform. And I told you guys the reason why is because they are losing too much lawsuits. So they want to get rid of the fundamental rights. And I keep saying it, and I think some people might think, well, I'm not telling something that is kosher. But I want to go back to what was said on a tape just for proof of why we are also in a big deficit in this country.
There are so many settlements out there that are not even included in the national debt picture. These judgments against us and that were settled, or claims made against the government of Belize, those aren't even included in the total debt picture. What is included are the known debt, not these judgments. But I can't say for sure how many cases were pending when we assumed office in November. I think the Attorney General will be in a better position to answer that. I know that there are a lot of different matters in terms of the ministry where I am. We have the case brought to trigger the redistricting exercise. It's something that we're working with right now. There's also a case with the Public Sector Workers Trust. It's something that we're also looking at. We're working through those cases. So I can speak on those two because I know about those two, but I'm sure there in the Ministry of Health there might be some medical negligence lawsuits that were pending. I'm not sure. The AG would be in a better position.
So pretty much you're saying we're in a far worse situation because a lot of those pending claims are not even on paper.
Yes. When it comes to the debt to GDP, that only refers or reflects the known debt, not the judgments. Because remember, those judgments are not a set amount. It increases with interest and different things. When you add in those known judgments and settlements and different things, you're approaching 150% debt to GDP ratio. But remember, we're not even including those.
People at home and abroad and gentlemen,
a little honesty for a change.
This is why the 13th Amendment is so important to the government and in the making to make it retroactive, going back to the past government. Because you know what that will do? Block some suits, and the government does not have to pay. As with this young man with the $300,000. So, as I said before, with constitution reform, they want to get rid of the fundamental rights. They don't want you to be able to go to a court for a judge to adjudicate for you. I go back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Greg. I'll close off by, I'll continue with a little something here, that I had written, just for me not to have forgotten, right? The past administration, Mr. Dean Barrow, in standing up in the House, informing the Belizean, the nation, and the world he had some very, very big words. He good with words, and he had lost a lot of people with his big words. By the time you try to shuffle and see what these words mean, he can't come with another one, so you never could actually see where this guy is going, right? Then you have this one. This one, he is very good. He play around with numbers. Numbers. And the statistics says this, and statistics says this, and this percentage this, and this, and he's the numbers man, right? So if you're not good with numbers, he lost you again. So what do we have? So we see how this government and Mr. Briseno play around with numbers. Crime is down. Unemployment is down. The economy is good. GDP, and he giving numbers, he giving, I think the last numbers for unemployment was 2 point something. 2 point something of our populace is unemployed. That's what is, right? So GDP is very good. Poverty, down. We don't have much poverty, right? Minimum wage is good. We just raised it to $5 an hour, right? Now people are working, oh yes, and the BPOs, yeah, we BPOs are alive and strong. The BPOs is what providing, employment in this country. A shame. You should have said, well, we PUP government in this storm, you see the factory bring and the amount of employment we give to the Belizean people that needs employment. Look at what we did. No, he basing on the BPOs, and he don't forget the breaks he gave these BPOs. He even trained at the set. There is a program there that you go and you train how to work at a BPO call center on the expense of the taxpayers' dollars, right? That's to show you how far this guy goes, right? Now, retirees, they're getting their money now. We're providing jobs, right? Public servants, we will settle them. Things are okay. We'll deal with that. Lots of money from the Bolido. You hear Mr. Cordell Hyde in the House, public to the Belizean people and to the world. The Bolido is producing lots of billions of money. We are a rich government. The country is rich because the Bolido is providing so much money, right? Comes from his same way you play that tape there, Greg. Thank you for playing that game. I wish you'd have that one when he says about the Bolido, right? But you could quote me. That is what he said, right? NHI, good, providing good service, and we'll soon roll out NHI to the entire country, right? Best healthcare system we have, right? People are getting land. That comes from their mouth, People are getting land, right? Houses are being built. They promise how much, like 5,000 houses. I think they're down to about maybe 400 or 500, right? But people are getting houses left, right, and center. These are the venom that spewing out there for the nation and the world, that they are doing right by their people and nation. So they are waiting for the IMF to come now and try to bail them out, right? Land and houses are being, given to the Belizean people. Best roads ever, roundabouts, best roads. We have the best. Our security forces are being taken care of. Equipment, salaries, welfare, a new bathroom. They open new bathroom, and that's one of the big items. You can in the military terms, you call it a Belizean block, right? Was open, and that was a big hit. What a damn shame, right? So, salaries and welfare, they're getting good pay, good welfare, right? Nutritional needs are being met. It's very good. I'm talking about the security forces. That's what Mr. Marin had uttered from his mouth, right? And Mr. Oscar Mira, right? And the numbers is looking good. It's all about numbers, The numbers are looking good. best police department ever. And overall, this is the best the Belizean people had ever lived in 43 years. Comes from that man Britannia's mouth. The best the Belizean people had ever lived in 43 years. Right? That's a big damn pill to swallow, right? Now, the blue economy, there's a thing for them now, they have a blue economy, which is right on target. Whatever that blue economy is projecting them to do, or whatever they are going to do for the nation in that item, their blue economy, it's right on target, and they are doing very good in our country. And not forget, my people, all you parents who send on your kids to school, the education minister say free education, free feeding program, up to even uniform. My people, parents, who don't believe these people, up to even uniform they're giving free, right? And like I said, the feeding program, right? And like I said, the man again will say the numbers are looking good, right? And again, the corruption and the injustice and the abuse of power continues, right? And he comes again and say, support us, right? And everything will be okay. Give us another chance in the next 5 years and support us around the village council election, and tell you everything will be right on track for the Belizean people. That comes from this man mouth. So sad. And that's what I have to offer, right? That's my little venom. Leonard, you want to close us off, or Greg, you want to close us off?
I'd just like to say, Mr. Chairman, that tonight's program was very helpful, I would believe, for those who listen to it while it's alive. Well, I'm not alive. While it is live, being broadcast, and for those who will come afterwards at their own timing and listen to it, which is quite a few people afterwards. I would hope that somehow or another the government gets its mind into a situation where they are more willing to listen to advice, even if they don't follow through with the advice, taking the input. If they don't follow through right now, they might follow through later on or at some other future time. But stop being snobbish and refusing and rebuffing genuine help that people are trying to provide to us, either in words advice or either in projects that they are trying to propose or develop interest in. Stop have people come to you only to walk away disenchanted and discouraged. Because that has been the trajectory of our country so far, which is why we haven't been able to develop very much, other than for the people then that come and pay only money up front. We have to get out of that mindset. We have to start think about the rest of the country and the future. Because without proper development at the rate that the world is moving ahead of us, we're gonna be in some serious trouble, major trouble,
True
especially
on
the
that.
younger generations coming up.
True on that.
I yield,
Like
I
I
yield
say,
back, Mr.
it's
Chairman.
so sad when you listen to these guys, like for me, I live it and I see it, and it does not germane to me, and I do not like the way these people are carrying on. I don't like the road our country is going down. I just hope and pray that at some point in time we get some good leaders, some godly leaders, and some leaders who have the country and people at heart, and bring back the country to where it belongs, back to the people. Because if we don't, and we continue to have the same cluster of leaders, that's it for the country of Belize, right? That's it, right? I might sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, but a lot of things that we say on our program over the many years come to light, come to pass. And on that note, I want to thank Mr. Morrison, and I want to thank you, Greg. I want to thank you, Leonard, for sitting with me
You're
virtual.
welcome. You're welcome,
And
sir.
again, Mr. Morrison, Sorry that you couldn't get in a little early, so you
Mr.
could have.
Chairman, if I may,
Right.
we're like 6 minutes away from the 2 hour mark. Can we go to Mr. Morrison?
Oh, sure, sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Sure.
yes.
Okay.
You know, the problem we have often is with government and the people is the understanding. We don't They don't seem to genuinely trust the people, and the government always seem to think they have the answers and solutions. And maybe they do, but it doesn't come true because in the end, it seems like they all have their hands stick out to get something for whatever decisions they're making that's supposed to be in the interest of the people. And so, for that reason, we don't get any real development. We get these companies that are all foreign owned, and therefore all the profit and stuff is repatriated back out of the country or never comes into the country. In the case of tourism, where all these bookings are done offshore, and all we have is people stepping off the boat or stepping off the plane and trampling what resources we have there. The fauna and everything is being used up and destroyed in ways that the people and the country are not seeing any of the benefit. The native people. And so we need to kind of figure out, and government needs to figure out, and the people need to start asking real question and advocacy for themselves. We can't just
True on that.
I mean, for example, I'm thinking right now of offshore drilling and things like that. The biggest group that opposes that is the tourism industry, and with good cause, right? But they're not doing what is necessary. When we developed this tourist industry, it was part of it was a certain amount of the money was going to be going towards education, was going to be going towards healthcare. But we haven't seen any really set aside for those. Everything get mixed up. Whatever probably goes in a little pocket never shows up for the people, never falls into those lines of where they were supposed to go. But we don't say,
Mr.
okay,
Morrison, if I may,
Shooting on
sir,
that.
I
Shooting.
hate
So
to
true.
say this, Mr. Morrison, but you know how much money has come into this country from Taiwan and the US for education?
yeah.
And here tonight, on the tape I play with the economist, he is specifying that enough money is not being put into education and infrastructure and other things. So if the money is not going into that, and we are getting millions of dollars in the name of education, where is it going?
Somebody's pocket.
And I hate to ask this question because even though Belizean people is denied the opportunity to see or hear about certain contracts and stuff, there is a law that the government should disclose, and that's under the Freedom and Information Act, and I will scroll it. It's right there. So they should not be having nothing in secrecy because they are accountable to the general public, who is the government. Their
Freedom
position,
of Information Act Cap 13
that is correct.
legally obliges the government of Belize to disclose information to the public, facilitating transparency and accountability.
Yeah.
Back to you, Greg. Sorry, but I just needed
Back to
to.
you, Mr. Morrison.
Yeah. Well, I kind of lost where I was going with that. But it is definitely a concern when the government doesn't allow the system to flow so that the people can make the get the knowledge they need and the development they need from the resources we have. We have an abundance of resource, but they don't treat the people with respect to wanting them to make the decisions, as I was saying, because all of the decisions that are made has to make some benefit to them personally.
The minister have to approve it.
Yeah. So nothing is happening that sort of.
I like to say that one, Mr. Chairman. The minister have to approve it.
Gentlemen, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman and gentlemen. And based on what you said, Mr. Morrison, I will say two things. The definitive agreement done under the red and the airport contract done under the blue.
Yeah.
In both scenarios, they're the same thing.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we have reached
that
the
note,
2-hour mark.
Yes.
And on that note, I would like to say a good night.
Thanks to those who, Leonard, anyone? Thanks to those who tune in and watch us and who will watch us a little later. Thanks to our supporters that support us, share our program. Thank you very much. May God bless you and may God bless Belize.
Invite for Friday.
Thank you guys for sitting with us here, sitting together, discoursing and virtually. Thanks to you guys, and may God continue to bless you guys. And keep
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Mr.
Okay, gentlemen, you ready? 1, 2, 3.